As I make this video, we're less than a month away from Apple announcing iOS 18, which will probably be the biggest change to iOS ever. But in the meantime, there are still things about the iPhone that can surprise you, things that I reckon most iPhone owners don't know about. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Stick with me to the end. Even if you think you know all there is to know about your iPhone, I reckon there's at least a couple of things here that might catch you by surprise. Okay, let's get into it. Your iPhone can make intelligent suggestions about what you might want to do based on a bunch of different criteria. Here you can see that I've received a text message from a friend asking me to send them photos that I took earlier that day. My phone has identified that request in the message, and because of that, just above the keyboard in the contextual menu, you can see that there is a link for me to go straight into the Photos app and select the photos that I would like to send back to my friend. It's saving me a couple of valuable seconds, which isn't much, but that will of course add up over time. There's a couple of settings that you'll need to enable in order for this to work. The first is you'll need to go into Settings, then General, then Keyboard, scroll down and ensure that predictive text is enabled. The second thing that you'll need to do is go into Settings, go into Siri and Search and scroll down to Messages. Tap into here and ensure that all of the options here are enabled. So long as you do this, your phone will be able to make intelligent suggestions like this to you. Oh, and another example that's similar, although not exactly the same, is if you are writing an email, for example, and you mention in the email that you've attached a file and then hit the send button without attaching a file, your phone will prompt you to let you know that you're about to send an email without attaching a file. You can ignore the message and continue, or use the prompt to remind you to attach something. I think shared photo libraries on iCloud are one of the best iCloud features. They're really good, but they only function if everyone in the group uses an iPhone. For the situations where you're trying to share photos with someone that doesn't have an iPhone, or where you just don't want to create a dedicated iCloud photo library, there is another method that you can use, and that's to create an iCloud link. So in the Photos app, you would start by selecting the photos and videos that you would like to share. Tap the share button in the bottom left corner and choose Copy iCloud Link. The iCloud link will be prepared, which can take a few seconds depending on your phone and your internet connection. But once it's done, your phone will create an iCloud link, which it will automatically copy to your clipboard. You can then paste this into an email or a message or however you want to share it with other people. Once created, the images will appear on a website that is accessible by anyone who has the link, regardless of their device, so do keep this in mind if you're sharing it with people. You don't get the usual level of protection that you would get in a true iCloud photo library or the commenting features. It's literally just an easy way to share images and videos with people. The images will stay on this page for a month, at which point they will automatically be deleted. Also, if you go to the For You tab of the Photos app and scroll down, you can see a section called iCloud Links, and in here, any iCloud links that you've created will be visible. You can tap into one, press the ellipsis button at the top of the page, and grab the share link again, or stop sharing the link. A recent change to the terms and conditions on the App Store means that game emulators are now able to be downloaded to your device directly from the App Store. A game emulator, in case you're unaware, is a piece of software that can load ROMs, essentially a file containing the entirety of an old video game cartridge or disc. What this means is that your iPhone can now play Game Boy games, SNES games, NES games, and a host of other old school video games. I saw one the other day that can run old PlayStation games. The OG PlayStation was basically my early teenage years. The one that I've downloaded myself and the one that I'm including in this video is called Delta. I'll include a link to it in the description of this video. Once you've downloaded the Delta app and you open it up, there won't be a lot to look at, and that's because you need to load some ROMs. Now, officially and legally, the way that you are supposed to use an emulator is to only add emulations of games that you already own, and there are a number of ways that you can take your old discs and cartridges, pull the information from them, and then add them to this emulator. For legal reasons, I can't suggest that you do anything other than this, although now would be a good time to remind you all that there is an amazing tool called Google. So I've got my completely legal and legitimate copy of a game that I absolutely definitely do already own as a ROM, and I've downloaded it into an app in my iCloud Files app. I can then press the plus button in the upper right corner of the Delta app. I'll tap on Files and then I'll navigate to the folder where I'm storing my ROMs. You can see that the ROM is a zip file. You don't need to open it or anything like that. You simply select it and choose Open. That's all that you have to do. Once you've done that, the ROM will appear in your ROM library. It may appear with cover art, not all of them do. You can see that the example that I have here hasn't got any cover art included, but when I tap on it, I get a controller image in the bottom of the screen, and the game, which in this case is Super Mario World, loads up on the screen. All of the buttons in the controller emulator at the bottom run exactly the way that you would expect them to, which means I can now sit and play Super Mario World on my iPhone to my heart's content. This video is all about surprising things your iPhone can do, and something that still surprises me is how many people still use the same weak username and password combination for everything that they do online. According to recent data, around 1 in 3 Americans have experienced identity theft, and if that's not the kind of stat that's going to make you take password management seriously, I don't know what will. And to truly take password management seriously, you need to invest in a reliable password manager like the one from Keeper Security, who are sponsoring today's video. You can use Keeper to not only securely store an unlimited number of passwords and passkeys, but also generate strong passwords at the touch of a button and safely autofill your credentials when you visit a website. There's an app for the iPhone and Android, extensions for all the major browsers, and software for Mac, Windows, and Linux. So no matter what you're using, you're covered. You get best-in-class security using zero trust and zero knowledge encryption to ensure only you have access to your data and can use it on an unlimited number of devices. With more than 275,000 5-star ratings across the app stores, that's a lot of people happily using Keeper. If this sounds good to you, check out the link in the description of this video, because Keeper is giving my viewers 50% off with promo code PROPER50, or try it free for 30 days, so why not get started? If you use Apple Music, there was a really cool feature added to it last year that allows you to pretty much completely remove the vocals from tracks, giving you an instrumental version of that song at the push of a button. It's called Apple Music Sing, and that's because it was designed with karaoke in mind. But if you're like me and you like working with music playing in the background, but you find music with lyrics a little bit too distracting, it can be a really good way to get loads of instrumentals to listen to. To do this, go to Apple Music and find a song that you would like to play. While the song is playing, you'll notice a microphone icon on the right of the screen with a few stars around it. Tap on this and use the slider to increase or decrease the volume of the lyrics. If you drop it all the way to the bottom, you've got an almost perfect instrumental version of this track. The lyrics will also show on screen at the same time, so if you want to use this as a karaoke tool, you absolutely can. You can use your iPhone to create a really realistic interpretation of your voice. This feature is designed for people who are losing their voice or who are at risk of losing their voice in the future, but there's no reason why anyone couldn't do this. If you'd like to do this, you'll need to do the following. On your iPhone, go to Settings, then choose Accessibility. Scroll down and in the speech section, tap into where it says Personal Voice. Tap on Create a Personal Voice. Approve all of the prompts that come up and follow the steps to begin the creation of your voice. Your phone will guide you through the process, but essentially what you're going to do is speak 150 phrases into your iPhone. To get the best version of your personal voice, you want to do this somewhere that's really quiet, and ideally, you're going to want to try and do this in one go. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do this. Also, do be aware that once you've completed the creation of your personal voice, your phone will then need to process it for you, and this can take potentially a few hours. This is because it's all being done on device rather than in the cloud, so it's using the processing power of whatever phone or device you have. If you own an older iPhone, this could take a long time for it to finish. If you own something like an iPhone 15 Pro, for example, this will get done much more quickly. But your iPhone will let you know once the personal voice has been created. There are a couple of toggle options that I'm going to enable. One is share across devices, which does exactly what it sounds like. It means that all of my other devices, like my Mac and my iPad, can also use this personal voice that I've created, and I'm going to allow apps to request to use it. I'm then going to go back into Accessibility one page and click into where it says Live Speech. This is because once you've created your personal voice, you need to use it within the live speech function of your iPhone. Live speech is essentially a tool that allows you to type something on your iPhone and have your phone speak it out in whatever voice you choose. Toggle this function on, and then where it says Voices, tap into here and choose your personal voice from the top of this page. By the way, if you don't want to use your personal voice for this, you can choose from any of the other voices that are on offer. I would personally recommend that you go into Siri and you choose one of the voices in here because they are much more realistic sounding than the non-Siri voices. Once you've done all this, personal voice and live speech will be working on your device. For me, on my iPhone 15 Pro, I would simply triple tap the side button and type whatever it is that I would like to say, and then press the send button. My iPhone, so long as I have the volume turned up, will then speak the phrase out in my voice.
This is what my voice sounds like.
It's really pretty remarkable and a great example of where Apple are using artificial intelligence to create tools that people will genuinely get use out of. So if this sounds good to you, why not give it a go? By the way, if you prefer to have content like this in a written format, there's a PDF version of this video, complete with screenshots, and you can access it along with all other PDFs I've created, plus future ones, for just $5 a month. You can either scan the QR code that you can see on screen, or follow the link in the description of this video to learn more. There is a part of your iPhone called Siri Knowledge, which is kind of a hidden feature, but once you find out about it and start using it, it's really useful. So you can use Siri Knowledge to quickly find out information about famous individuals, all compiled in one place. So let's say, for example, I go to Spotlight Search and I search for Drake. You can see at the top of the Spotlight search, there is a different looking page that says Drake's name and tells me that he's a Canadian rapper, singer, and actor. If I tap into that, this is a Siri Knowledge page, which contains all of the information that Siri knows about Drake. I can see information about him taken directly from his Wikipedia. I can access songs which would play in Apple Music, including albums. I can view the latest news about him. I can view videos. I can find out facts about him. I can access his social media accounts, as well as accessing different links down at the bottom. If I do the same thing, but this time I look for Skepta, I can follow the link to his Siri Knowledge page, and it all looks very similar in terms of the information that's contained here. But you'll notice that for Skepta, because he's touring at the moment, I can scroll down to the concert section and I can view where his next shows are coming up. If I tap on one, I get another page that shows me specifically where the concert is taking place, gives me an option of adding it to my calendar, and I can even press the Get Tickets button to be taken to a website where I can get tickets for the show. That's a couple of examples for musicians, but I could also do this for a film. I could search for Godzilla -1, and you can see that again, there is a Siri Knowledge page dedicated to this film. I can tap on any of the cast and crew to be taken through to their page, and I could of course have searched for an actor or director in the first place. I would assume that as Apple continues to add more AI features to the iPhone in the coming months, the level of knowledge that Siri has here will only increase. So it's definitely a good feature to get into the habit of checking out. You can control your Apple Watch from your iPhone. You would go to Settings, then Accessibility, and then tap into Apple Watch Mirroring. Toggle this on, wait for the connection to happen, and then you'll see a mirror of your watch screen on your iPhone that is fully interactive. So if you tap on the screen on your iPhone, it will mirror over on your watch. If you tap on the digital crown or the side button, this will act in the same way as you'd expect as well. This is an accessibility feature, so I think people with relevant accessibility needs are going to be the people who are most likely to benefit from using this, but it is something that I think that most people won't know about, hence why I'm including it in this video. Oh, and a useful feature is the reverse of this, which I'm sure most watch owners know about, but I'm including it just in case. You can go to your Apple Watch, access the app menu, and scroll down until you see Camera Remote. Tap on this and your watch will mirror whatever you see on your iPhone's camera. You can tap the ellipsis button in the lower right hand corner of the screen to choose which camera you want to use, whether it's the front or the rear, choose whether or not to include a timer, whether or not to make this a live photo, etc. And if you tap and hold on the shutter button, you can record a video. This tip is genuinely useful if you want to capture selfies using the best possible camera that your iPhone has, or if you want to capture group photos really easily where everyone's actually looking at the camera. Your iPhone can listen out for sounds for you 24/7 and alert you if any of those sounds are heard. This can be useful if you have hearing impairments, but also it can just be useful if you like the idea of having another pair of ears listening out for something and alerting you to it. To access this, you would go to Settings, then choose Accessibility, and under the Hearing section, choose Sound Recognition. Toggle this feature on and tap into where it says Sounds. You can see that there are a number of presets to choose from here. Things like smoke alarms, the sound of a dog barking, the sound of a car horn, or glass breaking, or baby crying, any number of things that might be useful to a large number of people. But where this can get really interesting is the custom appliance option, which you can find under household, although there is also a custom alarm option under alarms. If you tap into this and follow the steps, you'll give the appliance a name and then you'll follow the steps to have your iPhone listen to an example of the sound. So the way that I've used this in the past is I've recorded the sound that our washing machine makes when it finishes and then played that to my iPhone 5 times in order for it to be able to identify that sound. Once it's done, it uses machine learning to properly identify that sound, and it will then give me an alert every time that it hears it. You probably already know that you can search for things in the Photos app of your iPhone using keywords, and your iPhone will return relevant results based on that keyword without you having to tag your photos or input any additional information. For example, if I search for the term dog, it will return not only photos, but also videos from my photo library that contain a dog. And in the case of videos, when you go into the video, you can see this blue icon in the scroll bar at the bottom of the screen that allows you to see specifically where in the video that particular subject features. But did you know that you can also search for audio contained within video? So for example, if you search for terms like clapping or cheering or laughter, these are all terms that can be searched for as a sound, and your iPhone will return any videos from your photo library that contain clapping, cheering, or laughter accordingly. Those are 3 examples that I know definitely work. I've been trying it with other things as well with mixed success. I think that more options will be added to this in the coming months as iOS gets more intelligent thanks to its upcoming AI enhancements. Let me know if you've had success with any other sounds. There is an app on your iPhone called the Measure app, which you may not know about because it isn't especially obvious. But if you go to Spotlight Search and type the word measure, you should be able to find it. When you open the app, you'll see that you can point your phone at something and use the plus button in the center to add a point. Stand perfectly still, then point your phone to another point in the room and use the plus button again to add a second marker. Your phone will measure the distance between those 2 markers. In my experience, it's extremely accurate, and it gets more accurate the more modern your phone is, especially if you have one of the Pro models, which include LiDAR. I've used this to quickly measure the dimensions of furniture or spaces in our home to know whether or not we can fit a particular item in. But did you know that if you have a rectangular shape, you can simply point your phone at the rectangle when using Measure, and your phone will capture the full dimensions of that rectangle in one go. This could be really useful if you're out and you see a picture or a painting, for example, that you want at home, but you don't know the dimensions. You can use your phone to capture it immediately, and what's even better is that once you've captured the dimensions, you can press the shutter button in the bottom right corner of the screen to take a photo of the item with the dimensions showing on screen. So there you go, 10 surprising things about the iPhone. What do you think? Anything here that caught you off guard? Any features you thought should have been included? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.